Welcome back, everyone. It is LaughNgamez here with another Starcraft 2 cast. Today we are on Frozen Temple between Guru and MCanning. Guru being the red Zerg spawning in the left, bottom right, my bad, and then the top left is MCanning. Guru is actually on a barcode, so when I'm referring to Guru, he is the red Zerg, and MCanning is known as Olim in this video. The replay is from the spawning pool from about 2 weeks ago. Spawning tool, I mean. So 2 weeks ago is this replay. So fairly new in Legacy of the Void. And we actually have Guru opening up with a spawning pool first, meaning he could be going for something quite aggressive. No gas though. So this could just be a safer opening. And we actually have MCanning going out with a probe to scout early on. Seeing that Guru did not put down his pool first, just confirming that it is a pool. And now Guru is actually going for a gas, getting a queen, so it's actually sort of unclear what Guru is going for. Well, putting out 6 Zerglings now. MCanning knows this is on the way, and he's actually going to have plenty of time to hopefully get up a wall by the time these Zerglings get over here, although it is going to put a bit of pressure on him to finish this wall before he expands. Starting up a Zealot and chrono boosting that out immediately because he knows Zerglings are on the way, as what happens when a Zerg goes for a pool first, putting down a pylon and hoping that the Zealot's going to finish in time before these Zerglings get over, and actually completely walling off now with another pylon. So the Zealot's probably gonna tuck itself in somewhere, gonna pop out behind the wall, and now these Zerglings are actually gonna be able to chip away. He actually cancels the pylon, was simply using it to buy time, pulled down some probes to prepare to defend this, while these Zerglings go to work on this gateway. He's gonna push the Zealot out, gotta be careful though. The Zerglings are chipping away at this gateway. It is now removed of its shield, so basically half dead. And I don't think there's honestly a way that MCanning can save this. The Zerglings are running away, but obviously MCanning does not want them to be able to sneak by. The Ling's almost going to get this gateway. MCanning's Mothership Core does finish, though. He's going to be able to get that down and pylon overcharge. Will he be able to save it in time? Guru is committing. Losing a few Zerglings, but killing down that gateway, so almost definitely worth it. MCanning quickly throws down another gateway, because right now he cannot be making any units. So this is actually still a one-base play coming out of Guru. And he's actually going for burrow and roaches, so this is going to be some roach burrow play. He's going to be able to burrow these roaches to avoid taking damage, and roaches regenerate very quickly while underground. So this could be quite a problem because MCanning does not have detection. The closest source of detection he could possibly have is going to be an oracle. But really, he's under a lot of pressure here. The Mothership Core will be able to photon overcharge twice to buy a bit of time, but he now sees these roaches. He doesn't even have a finished gateway. The Zealots are trying to buy time, fighting in front of this photon overcharge, which is doing plenty of damage. Picks off one of the roaches, which doesn't manage to burrow in time. The second one does. So now burrowed is revealed, and the fact that Guru is still only on one base. This is a heavy one base play. And the roach manages to sneak by, picks off the Zealot, and this is going to be a huge problem. More roaches are coming out. Pylon overcharge forces the burrow of 3, but I honestly don't see how he's going to finish this. Well, survive from this. MCanning getting out a Void Ray, which will be amazing versus roaches, but whether he'll take too much damage in the process, it's still one base versus one base. Those roaches have just healed up and unburrowed. The Mothership Core completely out of energy. Okay, so the probes have no choice but to make a run for it. The robotics bay is only powered by one pylon, so that could be picked off, but the Void Ray does come out, forcing one roach to burrow. Actually uses the probes to pick off a roach before it can burrow. Picks off another roach with the Void Ray, and getting out an observer, so he will be able to push off all these roaches. But I mean, if we look at the workers lost, it is 5 workers down, but it's still 15 to 14. So really, it's quite close. In fact, if anything, in the lead of MCanning, because he does have this Void Ray. He's getting out an observer, so now he's able to pick off these roaches. even has a stalker out now that he finally has a gateway up, but the roaches are picking away at a pylon down here, trying to get any damage done before they're forced out by this void ray with an observer, which is now allowing detection underground. Picks off one of the pylons, but the gateway remains powered due to a second pylon. An actual roach being possibly misrallied to its death. Nope, he manages to pull back in time. Just gonna poke a bit, testing fate there. And now Guru has thrown down another hatchery at his third base. Well, where his third base would be. But really, he doesn't have any solid anti-air, and McCanning is making another void ray. So literally the only unit that Guru has to shoot anti-air is this one queen. But McCanning is obviously still scared that this could be a follow-up, but he had a pylon over at this natural for Guru for a long time, so he knows it is only 2 bases. Well, 1 base. He's actually... Whoops. He's actually not confirmed that there's another base coming up. So as far as he is concerned, it could be some sort of followed up all-in. An Overlord misrallied into the Void Rays, which are going to pick that off. Oh, another Overlord going down. So these Void Rays are picking off Overlords, heavily supply blocking Guru. Guru is almost in a very bad position here. These Void Rays are moving across the map. Guru's still only on the... He's got a second queen now, at least. So 2 queens versus 2 Void Rays, but McCanning is playing it safe. Fortunately for Guru, he is. So he's actually playing it safe, staying at home to defend, and throwing up a Nexus. So this game looks like it could actually stabilize a bit, with McCanning being in a definite lead. There was actually must have been an adept that snuck into the base of Guru, that one adept that McCanning made. Let's see, did it get any kills? It appears to have gotten 2 drones there, and actually saw the state of Guru's base, so McCanning's got to be quite happy with the lead he's got, but he's still not choosing to push out with these Void Rays. If he really wanted to, he could push out with this Mothership Core and the Void Rays, and possibly recall if he needed to, but he's actually choosing to stay back and defend. Macro out of this. Still not aware of a third base by Guru, which is actually his second, and Guru is now actually going for his third base, which is his second base, his natural. So this game is actually stabilizing quite a bit. Guru's now worked his way back into a lead with the drones, and it's slightly starting to mine out his main base, so it's definitely a good thing he's getting up his third base. Meanwhile, McCanning is on patrol with these Void Rays for any potential attack. Getting up more gateways, and is probably going to want to transfer some probes soon, as this base is really starting to mine out, while continuing Void Ray production. So 3 Void Rays, which is an insane amount of air units. Going for a double Evo, though, is Guru, so now he's looking to get some upgrades. If it was maybe 1 Evo, maybe that would mean he'd be going for some Overlord drops, but he's actually going to be seemingly teching a fair bit, going into a more macro game because he's getting 2 Evo chambers, and actually just pumping out lots and lots of Zerglings, which are not good versus Void Rays. But a Spore Crawler is good versus Void Rays, but I don't know, these Spores are not going to finish in time to defend these Void Rays. These Zerglings are just popping out to make the defense. They're going to have to try and the Roaches are here. There is still some surviving Roaches, so the Queens are going to have to focus down the Void Rays and the Mothership Core. Will they be able to? It seems as if 3 Void Rays beat 2 Queens in a fight, so this is actually quite a terrible spot for Guru. These Void Rays giving chase to the Queens, one of them just narrowly escaping, but the Void Rays are in hot pursuit. And really, I mean, Guru is making as many Queens as he can. But Queens are literally his only source of anti-air besides these 2 Spore Crawlers, which have to burrow before they attack. The Spore Crawlers, though, actually burrowing and picking off the Observer, so burrowed Roaches could be a threat once again, but up in the top left of the map in McCanning's base, these Zerglings managed to run by, killing off some probes. So now the worker count is sort of even. These Zerglings actually pinning these units up against the Nexus, which is quite good for McCanning. So the Zerglings get cleaned up. 1 Void Ray working away on these 5 Roaches that have ran into McCanning's natural. But I mean, 1 Void Ray still takes a while to kill these beefy Roaches. And I believe McCanning is occupied elsewhere, actually killing the natural of Guru and then recalling for defense. While more Zerglings run in, they're going to be killing off so much, it seems like, because Void Rays are not very effective versus mass amounts of Zerglings. Well, they're good, but they still take a bit to clean them all up, so more workers going down for McCanning. He's now down to 25, lost 15 in total this game. And actually has his gateways unpowered, so this is one crazy game, but Guru is still definitely behind, as he's only on, well, he's on 33 workers, but he's only on 2 bases. For a Zerg at the 10-minute mark, 2 bases is not a good thing. Now it seems that Guru is actually teching to a lair, likely to throw down a Hydralisk Den or a Spire to deal with all these Void Rays. There's now actually 4 Void Rays, soon to be a 5th for McCanning, and McCanning is pushing out across the map. How is Guru going to stop this? Well, Guru's actually right now throwing up a 4th base, which will not help him defend this attack incoming, but really there's not that much on the ground for McCanning in this attack, so he's heavily relying on the Void Rays. But this time there are Spore Crawlers up in time. Guru needs to reposition the Spore Crawler. The Spore managing to shoot at one of those Void Rays. 2 of them are actually quite weak, so they could be picked off fairly easily, and it seems that McCanning might actually be pushed back with this attack. A 5th Void Ray coming in, and an Adept actually running in, trying to get some damage and scouting. Let's see, Guru still just getting melee upgrades when he's up against a bunch of Void Rays. He's still relying on these Queens for anti-air, producing 3 at a time, and getting a Carapace upgrade, which will help them a bit. A Spore Crawler, he's got to be careful to avoid that, using the Zealots to pick off the Spore Crawler so the Void Rays are not hurt at all in this upcoming fight, but one actually taking a few shots, and that can actually matter in a fight like this one. It's coming down to such limited anti-air versus such limited amounts of air. Gonna aim to focus down one of the Void Rays, gets it. Gonna probably be looking for another. 26 army supply versus 40 right now. 4 Queens to 3 Void Rays. The Queens transfusing each other to try and survive. A Time Warp going down, which is going to kill off these Zerglings. The 1 Queen might get 1 more Void Ray. No, there's still 3 Void Rays left, even though all the ground forces have been killed off. So it seems that Guru is going for a counterattack with these Zerglings, because that's all he can do. Moving Spore Crawlers to try and burrow underneath the Void Rays as he loses his natural again, which is really quite insane. He's not managed to properly mine from his natural, and it's 12 minutes into the game. So this one Spore Crawler that did manage to row, dealing a bit of damage to one of the Void Rays. So the Void Rays are getting quite weak now. But Guru is almost mined out in his main base. He doesn't even have a Queen here to defend it. So these drones are going to basically make a mad dash underneath these Void Rays to get to a better location, but I don't even really know if there is a better location. So McCanning's seemingly trying to end the game here, which he sort of needs to do, as he will start to mine out on his natural. He's really quite mined out his main base, which is heavily oversaturated at this point. But it seems that Guru might almost be able to turtle on these bases that he has. 1 Spore Crawler and 1 Queen trying to defend, but that's not enough to hold off 3 Void Rays, which are using Prismatic Alignment to deal extra damage to the Spore Crawler. So right now it seems that McCanning... Oh, did he actually lose one of the Void Rays there? He must have. Another Queen might have popped out, or maybe that 1 Queen managed to pick off that 1 injured Void Ray. Anyway, now 2 Void Rays, a Queen going to be dealing some damage to another one of them. Any damage to the actual hull of a Void Ray cannot be regenerated. So a bit of damage on one of the Void Rays. The Mothership Core still harassing these units, but 4 Hydralisk are about to pop out right underneath these Void Rays. I'm not sure if McCanning has scouted this Hydralisk Den, so he hasn't. So these Hydras were a complete surprise to him, picking off those 2 Void Rays, and simply only the Mothership Core escapes with a recall. Now 3 Adepts seemingly going to be moving across the map, as a bunch more Adepts down here are actually doing damage with 2 more Void Rays. So now we've got Adepts versus Hydralisk, which should actually go very well for the Adepts, particularly if they fight in a good spot with the Void Ray support. Guru committed so much to this anti-air defense, he doesn't seem to have enough anti-ground at this moment, but a bunch of Zerglings pop out to maybe fill the gap between their armies, and the Zerglings are actually doing very well versus these unupgraded Adepts. They do not have Adrenal Glands, they do not have any attack upgrades, whereas these Zerglings are on 2-2, which makes them insanely effective. The Hydralisk even have +2 Carapace to survive longer when fighting these Void Rays. It seemed that at any moment Guru could have lost, but he keeps on holding on. And partly that fight he survived because of that huge upgrade difference. McCanning now trying to go for a third base because that's all he really can do. Maybe he'll be able to hold off these Zerglings, but they do so much damage to these unupgraded Adepts, just shredding through them. I mean, these Adepts do extra attack versus light units like Zerglings, but the Zerglings are upgraded and do so much extra damage. A Photon Overcharge and the Void Ray finally forcing back these Zerglings. So right now, both players are below 100 supply at the 15-minute mark. This has been one scrappy game. Seems Guru is happily mining on his 4th base, which is really his 2nd base by all means, I guess. And McCanning is actually really starting to mine out, so he'll be doing a bit of long-distance mining on that 3rd base till the Nexus finishes. While Guru is trying to get his economy back up and will actually be on quite a good economy since he's hardly mined out his natural, and his 3rd base still has a fair bit of resources at it, although it is starting to mine out. So really, I'm not sure who's ahead in this game. McCanning is now finally choosing to tech because he did not manage to kill Guru when he tried. So he's now going into Blink and Disruptors along with getting Templar Archive. So this could be a Blink Archon style, or it could be Blink Storm Disruptor. He's really going for so many different techs, finally getting a Forge to get out some upgrades while trying to hang on, heavily instantly saturating this 3rd base. And actually sending out an Adept to scout all around, take that watchtower. But Guru, look at this, so aware that he saw this Adept with the Overlord and is pulling the Zergling away that was on the watchtower to save that one Zergling. Now Hydras are starting to move across the map. It seems they were trying to get that Observer of McCanning. So right now we've got 112 supply to 98, so really it's not too, there's not too big of a supply discrepancy, but there is still a large upgrade discrepancy for Guru, so he's got quite a lead. But McCanning does seemingly have still very strong units. Adepts are good versus Hydras. A Disruptor is amazing versus Hydralisk, assuming he can get a good connection, and actually morphing in 2 Archons there with those Templar. So Archons are great versus Hydras, Archons are great versus Zerglings. So really he's got quite a great army. So Guru is still bent on attacking, trying to do some damage, and not wanting to let McCanning get up a 4th base, because he knows how Starcraft is played out. He knows that McCanning's going to be wanting to get a 4th base since he's not coming over to attack him. But he sees all these units from McCanning, such a strong army. Guru actually going for a 5th base, but an Adept from McCanning has already spotted that Guru's creep spread is somewhat lacking, as he's just been so busy trying to defend and sort of keep the pressure on McCanning, so this game isn't just going into a macro game. He's Ling's cleaning up that Adept, but McCanning has seen this 5th base. He does not want Guru to get it up, so he's pushing out. But he does not have a Warp Prism with this, so this army is by itself. Reinforcements will not be coming for it, so he needs to kill this base off, and Guru is too far out of position to do anything about it, so he will. Guru does not manage to cancel the base. Okay, let's see. We've got 17 Hydralisk versus all this for Guru. I don't see how, but actually, my mistake, I saw the Spire earlier, but I didn't say anything about it. So a mass tech switch into air units has come out for Guru. So now he's actually going to be harassing the bases of McCanning. McCanning throwing down tons of cannons, warping in Stalkers to try and defend these bases. These Mutalisks are going to destroy these Stalkers, but the Stalkers do have Blink, so they will be able to somewhat effectively trade versus these Mutalisks. All the while, McCanning knows his ground army is so much stronger than Guru's because Guru committed to these Mutalisks. So it's almost going to be, it is going to be a base trade as Guru sends his entire army across the map along with these Mutalisks, all the while McCanning is trying to kill off all the units for Guru. Actually cancels that Lurker Den because he's not going to get a chance to tech into them. Zergling's making a mad dash out of their eggs because they don't want to be anywhere near this fight. but the Zerglings are going to be hiding behind a Spinecrawler wall. I guess this is where Guru's sort of going to make his stand with all the units he's created back at home. So he's got a few Hydras and a bunch of Zerglings to try and defend against this army, try to pick off as many units as he can with these Spinecrawlers. McCanning gonna steamroll into them, and they will not do very well. He might pick off one Archon, all the while, and now actually Guru picked off the 3rd base, denied the 4th base, and is now coming back to sandwich this army for McCanning, so really this is gonna be it. If McCanning does not beat this Archon's so good against Mutalisk along with the Stalker support, but there's so much on the ground for Guru as he brings back his whole army. It's actually going to be so close. A few Hydras left. The army supply is greatly in favor for McCanning, so the drones are being pulled to help support this. But these 2 Archons are so weak. The Disruptor has fired its shots. There's really not that much on the ground. But then again, it comes down. It's 2 bases that are that are incredibly mined out, versus 2 bases that are even more mined out. Guru is actually in a better position to macro because he hardly has mined off this natural base compared to what you would have done normally. So McCanning knows this, I guess, and he's going to try and end this game still. He's not going to macro out of this. It's 18 probes versus 33 drones with such an army so high lead. Guru needs to fall back, pulling everything back to try and defend this incoming attack. 16 Zerglings on the way versus Stalkers and Archons. The Archons have had time to regenerate some of their shields, so they're doing very strong. A Disruptor shot comes and picks off 2 Hydras, which is so critical. The drone's being pulled for one last defense. Will he manage to do it? One of the Archons goes down. The second one goes down, so now it's just Splink Stalkers versus Hydras, drones, and Zerglings. This is incredibly close. The Hydras are shooting. These Stalkers are getting so weak because quite good blink control from McCanning is making them fight efficiently, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be enough. The Hydra's picking off the Disruptor, but at what cost? He loses his last few Hydras to kill the Disruptor, which was less of a threat at the time than the Blink Stalkers, but another Disruptor comes in, almost hits all those Zerglings, but good dodge coming out of Guru. So really we've got... It's insane to say, but this game is still incredibly close. 19 workers to 19 workers, 36 army supply to 16. And McCanning pulls back. I think the players almost don't know what to do at this point. Like, McCanning's thinking, I could macro out of this, so he's got a Nexus on the way, because he hasn't managed to kill Guru, but Guru's thinking, okay, McCanning is going to be macroing out of this. He doesn't know that, but he's making the assumption that he's macroing out of this and sending Zerglings across the map. But since the Zerglings are out across the map, he's only going to have his drones to defend and a few Hydras back at home. That one Hydra getting forward and almost getting picked off. Every unit matters in this situation. The Spire is going to go down. These Broodlings might actually be able to kill that Stalker, but it blinks away, and they just do a bit of shield damage. These Zergling killing off probes of McCanning, which he cannot afford to lose, and he really needs this base. His main base is mined out, so it's natural. It's all on this 3rd base, which is seemingly going to go down. So really now, it is now or never for McCanning, but I think he might just be able to do it because of how many units he has over in the base of Guru. Guru does not have enough coming out to beat this. The army supply is 12 to 36. McCanning's army is just so strong here, with +2 attack now, and an Archon, which is just so good versus everything Guru has. The Broodlings popping out from that kill-off hatchery, so Guru is trying to do as much as he can, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. These last few Zerglings are going to go down, and I believe that's going to be it. Patch toss wins again. Hurry up, David Kim. Alright, GG. So, that was such a close game. Anyone could have been invested in that. And that was actually such a great ZVP to cast there for my first ZVP cast. So thank you guys for watching. Feedback is always appreciated. And I will see you guys next time.